Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to destroy anyone who shows him the least bit of loyalty continues with Jeff Sessions, who is one of his earliest and strongest defenders and supporters, now serves as his attorney general, and apparently in the past couple of months has repeatedly pissed Trump off. Trump's slow-burning fury, it's being described as, apparently stems from Sessions' voluntary recusal from the sprawling federal investigation into Russian interference in the US election. So if you missed this originally a couple of months ago, after a lot of pressure, especially from the Senate, Jeff Sessions voluntarily said, I'm not gonna be involved in anything having to do with the investigation. Now, it doesn't appear that that's actually true because he seems to have been involved in the decision to fire Comey in the first place. But theoretically, he was not getting involved. Now, the president felt that that move was unnecessary, and anonymous sources, which Trump hates, close to the administration told news outlets that he blamed Sessions both for the expansion of the Russia probe and the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller to oversee it. Although remember, Robert Mueller hasn't been, on the job for 3 years. He came about specifically because of the incredibly suspicious way that they fired Comey.
That's right.
And Trump does not have Sessions to blame for that. Trump has Trump to blame for that. He always has a scapegoat for the complications he introduces into his own life. There would be no special counsel if he hadn't been acting in such an odd fashion, in such a, I would say, an authoritarian fashion, attempting to shut down investigations of him. And anyway, what did this culminate in? Well, apparently the Attorney General's own frustration with the president due to both public and private sort of spats that they had prompted Sessions to offer his resignation just before Trump left on his first trip abroad as president in late May. That obviously wasn't accepted, but he did offer to leave the administration, opening the path for a new attorney general. So what is the current state of Jeff Sessions, who, as I alluded to before the break, one of the most hated people in the administration? Reporters asked Sean Spicer about the president's confidence in Sessions, and this is what happened.
How would you describe the president's level of confidence in the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions?
I have not had a discussion with him about that.
Okay, last time you said that, there was a development.
I'm answering a question, which is I have not had that discussion with him.
So you can't say he has confidence in his Attorney General?
I said I have not had a discussion with him on the question. If I haven't had a discussion with him about a subject, I tend not to speak about it.
Now, if that little smirk on Spicer's face didn't tell you the whole story, the idea that you have to check in every day to see if he still supports one of his employees would be odd. And as the reporter pointed out, this is almost exactly like what happened when they asked a question about James Comey not that long ago. Let's watch that clip.
Does the president still have confidence, full confidence in FBI Director James Comey?
I have no reason to believe. I haven't asked him. So I've not asked the president since the last time we spoke about this.
Yeah, same little smile. I didn't talk to, I can't say if I didn't talk to him into, oh, he's fired. Oh, interesting. So Sessions might need to look for another job.
It's good to see two white supremacists not getting along. So,
well, that's been a trend with white nationalists this year, right? Where they'll even try to host events together and then they fight amongst one another because they're clowns. And so we have a clown car in the White House, and this type of conflict is super obvious, it's super transparent. To be quite honest with you, before this story, I didn't realize that there was some conflict between Trump and Sessions. But Trump can turn on you at any minute, even given the fact that he pretends like he cares so much about loyalty. He cares about loyalty toward him. He's not really loyal to anyone else around him. So if he sees anything you do as even a slight misstep, he'll be against you. And by the way, can we just quickly mention how incredibly bad Sean Spicer is at his job? Oh. And it's a difficult job, don't get me wrong, but he's so combative, and it's so obvious that either he's lying or he's trying to cover up for the president. And I know that's the job of the press secretary, let's keep it real. But he's just so bad at his job, it's amazing.
Yeah, he's stressed the fuck out.
I would be done. I would not be there.
He's like, don't say anything Melissa McCarthy will use. Don't say anything Melissa McCarthy will use.
He's getting it from every way. So I don't feel bad for him. So
no, I don't feel bad for him either. I mean, no one's forcing him to do that job. Clearly, he's still there because he, to some extent, wants to be there. But I feel like if I were in his position, I would make like that local news reporter who is pro-marijuana and just be like, I quit this bitch, and like walk off, right? What are you doing?
Yeah, like you should write a memoir.
Oh, maybe he's just sticking around as long as he can for that. One of the saddest things I read in the past month was so Spicer goes on the trip that they go abroad, and Spicer had told Trump the only thing he wants is to meet the Pope. And so he goes in to meet the Pope, Trump does, and he's like, okay, I'll bring the wife, I'll bring the kids, Spicy, stay out there. He doesn't let him in. But yeah, and as you say, it's their job to lie. It doesn't matter if it's for Obama or George W or whatever. But some people are harder to defend, and some people don't necessarily immediately undercut your defense at every opportunity. And so it is a difficult job. But to go back to Sessions, so they have this feud. He already said he'd be willing to leave. Now it's public that they've been feuding. And this is one of the sources that's an ally of Jeff Sessions in the administration, says Spicer's passive aggressive, quote, "I haven't talked to the president" dance now has him refusing to defend our own attorney general. What an embarrassment. Would he answer the same way if he'd asked about Reince? I don't think so. I don't know, Reince isn't that popular, maybe he would. But it is, it's sort of a difficult thing to say, would it be good for him to be forced out? Because Sessions has a really disgusting past. I mean, he is old school American racism. His view of racial issues and also about what he wants to do in terms of the drug war, super problematic. I don't have any faith in him as the attorney general. In terms of this investigation though, if that's one of your priorities, he is at least ostensibly recused himself, which would not be the case of whoever replaced him. And that person would be sort of the person that Mueller would have to answer to, and so there's complications there.
Sure.
Let's figure out Trump's pattern now, see, right? If it's something he did, which you pointed out, something he does, then it's someone else's fault. This is like, I don't know how you guys have kids, but like I have a 5-year-old kid and I've seen him around his friends. And sometimes if someone's in trouble, it's like, well, we've all seen it. When you were in elementary school, well, he did it. Well, he did, this happened first, and it's never your fault because you might get in trouble. So the firing of Comey, he might get in trouble, and make sure we counteract this. Now with Jeff Sessions not recusing himself when he didn't want him to, it's your fault this is happening. It never is his fault. So as a child, this guy was never told, hey, you might want to take some responsibility for the things you do and think about it before you do them, and you'll avoid your problem.
Just you think about them before you do them. I think that's one of his one of his flaws. He just doesn't have the ability to think about the ramifications of his actions before he takes them. So firing Comey, obviously, that's not so great for optics, but he doesn't think about it. He doesn't think about what the ramifications will be for his tweets and when he's like ranting and raving about craziness. So he's just not much of a critical thinker. And I think it's evident in the way that he's handled this entire Russia situation. I think it's evident in how he's handled pretty much everything, including healthcare. I mean, who would have known that it was so complicated?
Nobody would have known.
Nobody would have known.
Yeah.
Except if you were even a little intellectually curious, you would have known. But you're not, you're a clown.
You don't like ads? I hear you, brother. You know how you can avoid ads for the Young Turks? Become a Young Turks member and get all the content ad-free. TYTnetwork.com/join.